Hey book readers, today I'm sharing the 5 books I bought this year and how much I spent on them. In all honesty, I don't own a lot of books. It's shocking, I know. See, what happened was that for a long time I had a book buying drought, so buying 5 books was kind of crazy for me in 2023. The short explanation for this is that my wife and I have embraced minimalism as much as we possibly can with all the junk that comes with having 2 young kids. So over the past several years, we've purged and purged and purged all the stuff we own in every nook and cranny of our home, whether that's clothes, blankets, furniture, Christmas ornaments, board games, kid toys, lots and lots of kid toys, and yes, books. Eventually, I was talking to my wife about how surprising it was how we don't own many books anymore, and she sensibly said to me, "You know what, we're book people. It's okay for us to have more than a few books in our house." And it kind of made me realize, yeah, books aren't just clutter taking up space, they're part of who I am. So I decided to only purchase books that I absolutely loved, and whether I plan to reread them or let someone borrow them or just have them on the bookshelf, that's okay. And that brings me to the 5 books I've purchased so far this year. It all started with me buying Singer Distance. I don't have the actual book jacket on here. I bought this used from a library, so it was kind of beat up a little bit. And I love this book so much that it made me break my book buying drought. I probably hadn't purchased a physical book or ebook or audiobook in like 5 years. If you like sci-fi or alt history books or want a captivating novel you won't want to put down, go read Singer Distance. It has parts that feel like Arrival, Interstellar, and Project Hail Mary in it. I'll give you the basic starting point for this novel and try not to spoil too much else. In this alternative version of our world, Mars and Earth are in communication via math problems carved on huge scale into the planets. In 1960, after the Earth has failed to solve Mars's latest math problem and our rusty red neighbor has been quiet for 30 years, some MIT grad students road trip to go paint the solution to this problem in the desert. The book then picks up with several of these students a few years later as they try to solve the latest seemingly unsolvable problem. Singer Distance doesn't overwhelm you with mathematical theories, but it keeps you wanting to know more about the 2 main characters, Rick and math genius Crystal, and it'll have you on the edge of your seat as you find out if Earth and Mars will ever communicate again. And the next book I bought was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and I got this for $8 at a thrift shop. Now, as I already told you, I've only resolved to buying books I absolutely love, 5-star reads, but in this case I haven't actually read the book, so I'm just kind of banking on it being a 5-star read and hoping that it is. I've heard lots of really good things. And I really enjoyed the one other book by Gabrielle Zevin that I read, The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. And also the cover is so bright and happy on this one. It adds a pop of color to my bookshelf, so hopefully the book lives up to the hype. Here's another book that I found at that same thrift shop for $8 was A Gentleman in Moscow. If you live for excellent characters, this is the book for you. Here's the quick synopsis. Count Alexander Rostov is sentenced to live under house arrest in the early 1900s in a fancy Moscow hotel. And if there's anything I learned in my youth from Dunstan Checks In and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, it's that a lot of shenanigans can happen in a hotel. You'll get to know the charming, witty, and cultured Count inside and out through some absolutely beautiful writing in this book. There are poignant moments, wonderful dialogue, and a satisfying story that develops intricate layers over a few decades. Next up is A Whole Life. This was $6.55 on Amazon. I probably spent the most per page on this book as it's under 150 pages, a whopping 4 cents per page, I think. This is the story of a simple, solitary man, Andreas Eggers, who lives in a small mountain village in the mid-20th century. We see big and small moments through Andreas's eyes as he deals with nature, love, war, and progress throughout his life. It's a super chill read that makes you feel at one with nature. I mean, even the book cover here has this peaceful vibe to it with clean white, stony grays, and this fresh sage hue right here. It's kind of mountainous terrain. It's beautiful. And last but not least is Influx. I got this for $6.60 on Amazon. I'm a big fan of Daniel Suarez, and this is another one of his futuristic sci-fi thrillers in which a revolutionary scientific breakthrough is just swept under the rug by this shadowy branch of the government that's tasked with slowing down technological progress in the world. But not just does that happen, but the inventor of this high-tech innovation is then imprisoned with other doomed rebel brainiacs, and he has to try and escape to bring down the shadowy government organization that I mentioned. But to do so, he'll have to outsmart his captors, and like I said, they have all this future tech. They're just armed to the teeth with these gadgets that are beyond his wildest imagination, so it's going to be a little difficult. And all 5 of these books come out to a grand total of $34.95. So there you have it, all of the books that I purchased this year. Remember to like and subscribe, and if you live in Texas, here's a handy little tip to try and cut down on the number of physical books that you own. Get a digital library card from the Houston Library. It comes in handy if you live in a smaller town like I do, because Houston has a much larger selection of ebooks and audiobooks. Happy reading.